Terror charges gone, they say. So why is Nnamdi Kanu still in detention? That is the big question many people are asking right now across Nigeria and even outside the country. Let us break it down carefully and calmly so everybody can understand what is really happening. Please, as you are watching, like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people see balanced and clear explanations like these. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. Now, here is the situation. Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous people of Biafra, widely known as IPOB, has been in detention for years. At different times, courts have made different decisions about his case. Some rulings appeared to favor him. At one point, an appellate court discharged him on certain counts. That decision created strong reactions. Many people believed that meant he should walk free immediately. But the matter did not end there. The federal government challenged that decision at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court later ruled that the lower court did not have the authority to completely stop the trial in the way it did. The apex court ordered that the case should continue at the Federal High Court. That was a major turning point. Please pause here and like this video. Subscribe as well. It is very important. After that Supreme Court decision, the case returned to the Federal High Court in Abuja. Proceedings continued. The prosecution maintained its case. The defense continued to argue that the trial should not go on because of issues surrounding his arrest and return to Nigeria, but the trial court continued with the case. This is the hidden detail many people miss. When people say terror charges are gone, they are often referring to earlier decisions that seemed to dismiss certain counts. However, after the Supreme Court decision, the case was revived. Charges were sustained. The trial proceeded, evidence was considered, legal arguments were heard. Eventually, the Federal High Court reached a decision and convicted him on terrorism-related offenses. The court then sentenced him to life imprisonment. That is the present legal position. So the reason he is still in detention is not simply because of pending charges. It is because of a conviction and a life sentence handed down by a competent court. That is the legal reality as it stands today. Please, before we go further, like this video and subscribe. This kind of detailed explanation takes time and your support keeps the channel going. Now let us look deeper. Why do many people still believe he should be released immediately? There are several reasons. First, his supporters argue that the way he was returned to Nigeria from Kenya raised serious legal questions. They say his extraordinary rendition violated international law and his fundamental rights. They believe that because of this, so the entire trial process should be invalid. Second, they argue that IPOB is a movement for self-determination and that advocating for self-determination should not automatically amount to terrorism. This argument has emotional and political weight, especially in the South East region. Third, there is a broader political conversation. Some leaders and elders from the Southeast have called for a political solution rather than a purely legal one. They believe that dialogue and reconciliation would help reduce tension and promote unity. Please like and subscribe. Do not forget, on the other side, the federal government's position has been consistent. It maintains that the charges are based on actions and broadcasts it considers to have encouraged violence. The government insists that the matter is strictly legal and that the judiciary has handled it within the law. This creates two powerful narratives in Nigeria today. One narrative says this is a case of political persecution. The other narrative says this is a lawful prosecution based on national security concerns. Both sides are strong. Both sides have supporters. Now, let us focus again on the main question. If terror charges were once dismissed, why is he still detained? The answer is simple when you follow the legal timeline carefully. Court decisions can be appealed. When a higher court overturns a lower court's ruling, the legal situation changes. That is exactly what happened. The Supreme Court restored the authority of the trial court to continue the case. Once that happened, the earlier discharge did not stand as a final victory.
After that, the trial court concluded the matter and delivered judgment. A conviction changes everything. When someone is convicted and sentenced, detention is no longer based on accusation. It is based on judgment. Please like this video and subscribe. It is very important. Yes, now let us talk about what could happen next. In the Nigerian legal system, even after a conviction, the convicted person has the right to appeal. That process can take time. Appeals involve written briefs, legal arguments, and a review of trial records. Until a higher court sets aside the conviction, the sentence remains in force. So at this moment, unless and until an appellate court overturns the life sentence, he remains in lawful custody under the judgment of the Federal High Court. There is also the possibility of executive intervention. In Nigeria, the president has constitutional powers to grant pardon or clemency in certain circumstances. However, that is a political decision, not a judicial one. It depends on many factors, including national interest, political climate, and advice from relevant bodies. This is why some political leaders are pushing for dialogue. They believe that beyond the courtroom, there should be conversations that can heal divisions. But so far, no official announcement has changed its legal status. Please remember to like and subscribe. Share this video as well. Let us also consider the broader impact. The case has had social and economic effects in parts of the Southeast. Sit-at-home orders, security tensions, and economic slowdowns have affected daily life. Many ordinary citizens simply want peace and stability. They want businesses to thrive. They want schools open. They want normal life.
Then that is why this case is not just about one individual. It is about national unity, rule of law, regional trust, and the future of political engagement in Nigeria. Some people ask, why negotiate with some groups and not others? Why use force in one case and dialogue in another? These are political questions. They are part of a wider debate about fairness and consistency in governance. At the same time, others argue that the state must draw a line when it believes national security is threatened. They say that allowing certain rhetoric without legal consequences could create instability. This is the balance every government struggles with: security versus freedom of expression. Please, before I continue, like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. Another hidden detail is the difference between public opinion and court procedure. Public opinion can move very fast. Social media spreads headlines quickly, but court processes move step by step. They rely on filings, hearings, and written judgments. Sometimes what trends online does not fully reflect what is written in the official court record. So when someone says the charges were thrown out, it may be true at one stage of the case. But if that decision was appealed and reversed, the final legal position changes. This is why it is important to follow the full timeline, not just one moment. As it stands now, the conviction and life sentence are the main reasons he remains in detention. Not rumors, not secret detention, not forgotten paperwork, a court judgment. However, the story is not necessarily over. Appeals could still shape the future. Political dialogue could also shape the future. National conversations about restructuring and inclusion could influence the atmosphere around the case. Nigeria is a complex country with many voices. This case reflects that complexity. Let me remind you again, like this video and subscribe. We are breaking this down in clear, simple, and professional English so everyone can understand. The key takeaway is this: the phrase "terror charges gone" does not reflect the current legal reality. Earlier dismissals were overturned, the trial resumed, a conviction was delivered, a life sentence was imposed. That is why he is still in detention. Now, the real question for the nation is not just why he is detained,
but what path leads to long-term peace and unity? Is it continued legal battles? Is it political negotiation? Is it a mix of both? These are conversations happening quietly and openly across the country. And as citizens, people are watching closely.